Good evening and thank you for joining us. Hundreds of people filled Main Plaza this morning to take part in the Families Belong Together Day of Action, which had events in more than 700 cities across the nation. Eyewitness News reporter Sue Kalberg spoke with the people who attended about how they actually hope to make a difference in the long run.
The heart of America, beating in resistance to inhumane policies. We're coming together, are we not?
I cannot unhear the voices, the terror, the cries in children's voices who are desperately trying to be reunited with their mothers, with their family members and the loved ones.
We can't stop talking, we can't stop gathering, we can't stop raising the issues.
So we've got 130 days until November 6th, and that's how this changes.
These children live in fear. And all of you can make a difference. You can donate your time. You can donate through your schools.
United we stand! United we stand!
Are you ready to be deliberate?
Yes!
All together now, guys. This land is your land.
The national group has three stated goals: reunite families now, end family detentions, and end what they call zero humanity, persecuting parents for trying to save their children. Sue Kalberg, KENS 5, Eyewitness News.